There's a point where you can hear Khashoggi moving from being a man who's a confident person towards a sense of fear.
He's asking, are you going to do that to me? Are you going to give me an injection? To which he's being said yes.
Jamal Khashoggi was a Saudi journalist and an outspoken critic of his country's government.
The environment is not welcoming to me or any other Saudi writers, economist who is independent.
He spent the final weeks of his life in Turkey with his fiancée.
Jamal met my family. We talked about the life we could build here. He wanted to have a home in Turkey.
Jamal visits the Saudi consulate in Istanbul to collect paperwork so he can marry Hatice. He's told to come back in a few days, but as soon as he leaves, phone calls are being made back to Saudi Arabia. They were recorded by Turkish intelligence.
What was interesting about this phone call is that it referred to Mr. Khashoggi as one of the person that was being sought.
The recorded calls involve senior Saudi officials and are the beginning of a plot to murder Jamal.
There's no doubt in my mind, this was a seriously, highly organised mission coming from the top. This was not some flaky, maverick operation. No.
3 Saudi intelligence officers fly into Istanbul. It's now known 2 worked in the office of the Crown Prince.
The first team that arrives in Istanbul is, in my opinion, a reconnaissance mission. They determine how it can be done, what cannot be done.
A private jet arrives from Riyadh in the early hours of the morning. On board are more Saudis, among them a doctor.
The operation was conducted by state officials. They were acting in their official capacities. They came to Turkey using state resources, a private jet. For instance, 2 of them had diplomatic passport.
At what sort of level would this kind of operation have had approval?
In Saudi Arabia, the only person who can give approval to this kind of operation is either the king or the prince.
That day, Jamal receives a call to collect his documents. Some of the hit squad are inside the consulate waiting for him. Its leader, Maham Abdulaziz Matreb, and forensic pathologist, Dr. Salah Al-Tubaigi.
He says, I often play music, and he says, when I'm cutting cadavers. And he says, and sometimes I have a coffee and a cigar at hand. I mean, it's just so cold and callous. He says, it's the first time in my life that I'll have had to cut pieces on the ground.
An upstairs office in the consulate is being made ready.
They came prepared to dismember him. The fact that they protected the second floor against blood and other secretions shows this.
They speak about when Khashoggi to arrive, and they say, has the sacrificial animal arrived?
These are the last CCTV pictures of Jamal Khashoggi entering the consulate. A reception committee is waiting for him, unaware they are being recorded by Turkish intelligence. Helena and Agnes are 2 of the very few people who listen to the secret recordings.
There's a point where you can hear Khashoggi moving from being a man who's a confident person towards a sense of fear, a sense of anxiety, rising terror, and then knowing that something fatal is about to happen.
He's asking, are you going to do that to me? Are you going to give me an injection? To which he's being said yes.
And he says, am I being kidnapped? How could this happen in an embassy?
The sound that are heard after that point indicate that he is suffocated, probably with a plastic bag over his head.
Now the forensic pathologist takes over.
And you hear a voice saying, "Let him cut." And it sounds like Mutreb, "Let him cut." And then somebody shouting, "It's over, it's over." And someone else shouting, "Take it off, take it off." And someone says, "He's a dog. Put this on his head, wrap it, wrap it." So one can only assume that they had removed his head. We've been told that, of course, the body was cut up using a surgical saw. I couldn't hear anything like that. But one of the intelligence officers says, "Can't you hear that?" You know, it was a very, very low sound.
Investigators still don't know what happened to Jamal's body. Less than 24 hours after they arrive, the hit squad leave.
It's not just a tragedy for me, but all humanity. All the people who think like Jamal and who take a stance like him.
Something treacherous and terrible happened in that embassy. The international community has a responsibility to insist on a high-level judicial inquiry, because the rule of law matters in the world, and once you start dismembering that and start disrespecting it, then anything goes, and you're talking about chaos.